let me give you a few tips of how you can improve putting images in your slides. And by the way, all this stuff is in your handouts. But here's some common mistakes. The image is too small. Right? This is very simple to fix. Just make it bigger. Right? Another mistake. The image is placed at a weird location. I'm going to tell you in a little bit, some tips of where to locate things on the slide so it's easier for people to see it. But be intentional. If you put the image there, it's because you think there is where it works better. Right? So you put it there because you think, well, right at the center at the top, I think that's where people are going to look at. Right? Well, that's OK. But don't put it there because you were kind of late and you say, well, I put it anywhere, they'll see it. Right? Just be intentional where you put the things. Hesitant. You know, you kind of want to make it bigger, kind of like the whole screen, but you're not quite there, right? There's something preventing you from making this image the whole screen. Just make it the whole screen, right? You're almost there. That white space in the corner looks kind of weird, right? So in the handout, I'll have some tips on how to bleed the image off the page, meaning take the whole slide and making an image. Be bold. Don't do this, please, right? It's just not cool. So make sure that the students will see this, right? This looks like you either you really don't care about the presentation, or you kind of like not really sure about proportions, right? So here's another one. What do you say here? It's a really easy tip to fix that. You take a text box on PowerPoint, put it in front, and make it transparent. I have tips on your handouts on how to do that too, right? So I basically took a text box, a great textbook, and I put it in between the slide and the text, right? And then I take the transparency feature and I made this textbook transparent so the text kind of pops out. It's a very, very easy way to actually put text inside the images. Questions on any of these kind of techniques before I tell you where to find images? Yeah, so the text box, right? So the text box it starts as a completely black box, and then I go to the properties of the text, right? There's different ways to access that, and there's the very first one I think has a bar that says transparency, and then you simply move that bar, and it's going to get more transparent or less transparent. The more transparent, the more you will be able to see. The less it disturbs the picture because you will be able to see across.
Is that the only concern maybe about the full screen would be the blurry or pixelation?
Yes. So
if you want to make it sharp and clear.
Yeah, that's very. I'm glad you brought that, Mike, because that was my next. This text, what you're saying, right? So you have to be wary about your pixelation, right? So the idea here, and I have things in your handouts. There are ways to get better images. And the main cue is that you want an image that is at least as big as the size of your slide. So in a second, I'll show you what I mean. In the handouts, I tell you exactly what the usual resolution in most screens are. So when you look for an image, that's what you have to look for. An image that the original size is that big, so therefore you get the full effect. But if you go, this is a picture that and then, please don't do this. This is just wrong, this whole thing with you copy it without paying for the image, or you didn't care about royalties or anything. You just put it in your PowerPoint slide. But you have the pixelation problem. Okay, so now the last thing I want to tell you is I used to use this picture, and that has worked relatively well with the same topics. But the reason I got rid of it is because these people right here. So we have a natural tendency for faces, particularly humans' faces. So you have to be careful with that. If you have a picture that has faces that are really visual and really kind of take precedent, the students are going to get distracted. They will look at this, and they might get distracted and not, because we naturally have a tendency to focus and concentrate on that. So in your pictures, in your images, it's OK to use faces. Just make sure you put them in the background. And again, be intentional, right? So make sure that if you have an image that have clear faces kind of in the point, if that's where you want your students' vision to go first and stay there, totally cool. But if you want your students to focus on something else in the picture, in this case, I want them to focus on the fact that there's a lot of people in the line, they might focus in here because there's a natural tendency for that. OK, here's a lot of information. Where to find good images? All right, so here we go. I gave you some sites on your presentation, their handouts. But here are my favorite sites, my four favorite sites. So I'm going to go first with the free ones, and then I tell you the paid one. Obviously, the easiest is to go to Google, type the word, and then you go type images right here. And then you get a bunch of images of whatever topic. So in this case, it's scarcity. So give me one. Tell me something.
Twilight.
Twilight. Wow, you have to give me something that is kind of hard to spell. Thank you. Thanks a lot. All right. So did I get it right? Oh my God, I got it right. That's incredible. So once you get the images, so remember what I told you about the pixelation? You want images that are big, right? So what you do here is you want to click here. They have Google give you different size option. If you go in any size, then if you right-click here, it kind of tells you how big the image is. This image is too small. If I put this image on my PowerPoint slide and I want to kind of zoom on it, you're going to have that kind of blurry kind of look at it. Same thing with this image, right? 470 by 348. What you want from Google, you want more than 1,000 in both numbers. From Google, you want more than 1,000 in both numbers because these images are not necessarily high quality. So if you want to get your images that way, but what I do is I basically click on large, and most of the images you get here are actually usually pretty big. So I can use this image. This is something I can use in my presentation. So 1,000 by 1,000. So it's this one, right? Questions? Make sense? Here's another, if you don't find what you look in Google, so it's a process, right? It's fun. I actually have fun looking for images. Looking for the right image that presents your message kind of helps you understanding your message a lot more, right? So it's a process. Here's another really good site. This is free images. So and the quality of the image is a lot better here. Now, with these images, once you click on the image, Stock Exchange, it will tell you up here what the royalty situation is, the permissions. Now, obviously, you're using this in the classroom. There's a lot of murky legality and stuff, fair use and stuff. So for the most part, you'll be OK. But you should always try to be careful about the royalty for images you use, particularly if you're going to use it outside the classroom. But even if you use it in the classroom, I think you should be careful. So most of these images, when you click on royalty, when it says there usage, royalty-free means that you can use this image if you want to. And these images actually, you see, they come up really big. They're really nice. You get really, really good quality with this. Most of the 75% of the image I have in the presentation today come from this side. Stock Exchange. Here's the third free option is Flickr. You're probably familiar with it. The only thing here is that Flickr also have the same permissions issue. So people put pictures there, but that doesn't mean that you can use them whenever you want. So the pictures that you can usually use really easily they're called Creative Commons. So just when you click on Advanced Search, you're gonna get this screen right here. Just make sure that you click Only Search within Creative Commons. Those are pictures in Flickr that are usually royalty-free, that you can use with any kind of problems. The problem with this is a problem with this Twilight actually works well, but one of the problems with Flickr is that the searching mechanism sucks. It's really, really bad. So you're going to get a bunch of pictures that may or may not be related. So I recommend Flickr when you have something that is you really want. So if I want a poster of Twilight, you could probably get a good poster of Twilight in Flickr. But if you're not really sure what your message is and you think it might be related to Twilight and you put it in Flickr, you're going to get a mess, right? And then this is a pay site, but this is where you get the best pictures. Right? This is the best image site out there. It is expensive. It costs about 80 cents per photo. But the image or the quality is amazing. And the searching way is incredible too. So I have a membership here. So let's say I spend maybe like $40 a semester. And then if I don't find a picture in any image in any other way, then I go here. And I might actually find exactly what I'm looking for. Then I pay the 80 cents. Sometimes I get an idea from here, and then I go back to the other place, and kind of it's like a process that way.
Is there a yearly membership?
Yeah, well, there's different memberships. It's a pay-as-you-go, in which way you pay 80 cents per image. The membership is, they have a 3 months membership. I think it's about $600, and you can download as many images as you want in any day. So it gets expensive when you're going to download a lot of images, but obviously I think the best way is, one good way would be to, convince the people at your department to really, buy a membership to this. Questions about images? Did I answer your question? I also gave you more places that you can actually find images on the handout. Nancy?
Are there any kinds of images that we may stay away from? I'm thinking clip art.
Oh yes, I'm glad you say that. Yeah, clip art. Don't use clip art, right? It's just not. I mean, people have been using many times. It's just not. It doesn't look very professional. I mean, I think most people that tell you about PowerPoint don't use clip art, right? Try to use images that are kind of more, more professional looking, more sophisticated. The other thing with images, in addition to the things I said on the faces, try to do images that are not very complicated, right? So images should be simple that the student can actually get the main message right away. It has to be related to your message. Other than that, I mean, there's if you have a certain, you can get really picky, right? If you have a certain color theme in your presentation, then you can actually look for a certain color theme in your images. But I think as long as you apply those things today, I think you'll be in good shape. Yeah.
What about a collage? How do you feel about having a collage?
Let me think. Yeah, I think collage is good. I don't have a. Yeah. I usually have a one slide or two that is a collage. I wish I have put it here. I can show it to you afterwards. It's usually when I have, let's say I have a presentation that has 3 topics. Then what I do, my first slide has 3 pictures arranged as a collage, right, covering the whole thing. And that gives them a visual cue. So when they see this picture, I'm talking about this. When they see the other picture, that my presentation is on the other side. So yeah, I use collages are fine. You should be careful how many you use, but they're perfectly fine. Yeah.
When we're using these pictures from online sources, should we have a slide at the end that cites each one, or?
If you use it, if you want to, technically you should. Yeah, you should give credit to the picture. Most of these pictures you don't because it's royalty free. But when you click, remember when I told you that you click on that royalty in here? So if you click here, it will tell you, sometimes it doesn't say royalty free, but sometimes it will say, what does it say, exceptions or something to use. And then it says, you can use this picture, you just have to give me credit for it. So when it says that, you have to give the person credit at the end of your presentation or somewhere in your web page. But when it doesn't, you can actually use it for free. The person just put it there and you can use it. Sometimes it said, you have to give me credit and never alter it, so it has those things in there.
Basically, then, if you have a good camera and you have the time,
yes.
to all images,
Yeah, I think that's my last point before I move to the next topic. It's like if you start doing this way, now iPhones, you have a camera in your phone, right? Then the idea, try to look at the world, what's happening out there, and when you see something interesting, just take a picture of it, and that's the best way to get images, really. I use a lot of images that I actually take myself with my iPhone. And iPhone pictures are great. I mean, the quality is really, really good. So better quality than any of these pictures.